everybody, it is Calxiyn here, and today I'm going to be doing my reaction highlights and my review to Beastars Episode 3, Season 2, Episode 3, I should say. And I am so excited, but before we get into it, let me remind you all that you should subscribe to get notified when I post a Beastars video, join the Discord server, or follow me on my other social medias if you want to connect with me and my other viewers outside of just this video, of course. And then also you can get notifications that way. My Discord notifies everyone every time I post a video, because sometimes YouTube is not very reliable in that regard. And finally, thank you to all of the YouTube membership members and patrons for supporting videos like this. If you want to support me directly while getting some cool rewards, the links are down in the description for that. They also get exclusive access to my full-length reaction, because this video is my reaction highlights and then my review, just the biggest moments that I've chosen for my biggest reactions. But even if you're satisfied with just this, you can still check out a lower tier on the Patreon just to give me some support so I can continue making these types of videos. And like I said, this is going to be my reaction highlights, so the biggest moments, the coolest moments, and then afterwards I'm gonna do a little bit of a review, and those also sometimes go up for early access. I think there is one right now up for early access as I'm recording, so patrons get stuff a little early if you're interested in all of that. But now that all the housekeeping is out of the way, I'm so excited, especially because the ending of last episode, like, I don't know, kind of did something to me. Like, my brain is, like, broken, like, after seeing that episode, like, something has changed in me, and so I'm super excited, so let's just get into it. Damn! Alright, Bill. See, the guy looking in the mirror, I think that it's that guy. I think he did it. Oh, I see. Oh, no. He's just making it up, though. Oh, no. Whoa, Bill. Wow, that's a little, oh my God, so they all know about it. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Whoa. See, but then the herbivores are still in there. You don't want to say it in front of them. Yeah, let's fight, bro. Fight. Whoa, who's this? Oh, hello. Why does this guy remind me of Akechi for some reason? I'm listening to the Japanese, by the way. I don't even mean voice actor-wise. I mean literally, like, presence. Damn. Oh, who is this? Oh, he's so friendly. Look at him. Oh, he's like, yeah, take this garbage out. Oh, damn. He's just like, don't fight with me here, and then he fucking left. Who is this guy? I love him. Oh my God. Yeah, pretty boy. I guess that's why. It'd be like that. Oh. No, that's not nice. Wait, what? Oh, see, they're all just worried. What? Who's the successor? Damn, they're all just discussing. See, they don't even want to eat him. They're just all discussing where they're gonna go. Oh my God. Why? Why would they agree to this? Rui's just like, what? Whoa, Rui, that was not necessary. Oh my God. Well, obviously he's not dead. So, what happened? Oh, damn. Oh my God. So he just wanted to go in there, shoot everyone, and then die, I guess. Oh dear. Damn, he just decided that's too bad, you're gonna do it. Whoa, what? Oh, Rui. So they're basically saying, eat this or we'll eat you, I guess, is what's happening now. So they didn't want him to be boss right away. So maybe he's decided he doesn't want to die. Yeah. Because he said before, I'd rather die than be a pawn, but now confronted with what he... Yeah, I guess it's about them. He doesn't have the choice anymore. He doesn't want to die on their terms, just his terms. And so now he's changed his mind. I get it. Oh, boy. So I guess they respect him now. Oh, wow. Everyone has a crush on this guy. Oh, I'm okay with being ugly. Oh my god. Oh, Legoshi. Oh. Oh my god, what is happening? Damn. Oh, see, now they're defending Legoshi. He was about to, like, punch this man in the face this morning. Oh, damn. I feel like he did that on purpose so they would forgive each other. Like, a common enemy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that he did that so Bill and him would be friends. You know what I mean? After seeing them fight this morning. Damn. Damn. Maybe it was that bear with the innocent face and the ears, because I thought that those ears were the guy's ears that were after the part. Maybe it was this big bear. I don't know. Oh my god, not again. Oh my god, no! They didn't. Look at their faces. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, they didn't do it. Oh, see, they knew. Damn, look at him. Damn, what? What? Oh, Legoshi, no. Oh. Oh, that's nice. Oh. Oh. Damn. They're just telling him to relax, but he shouldn't relax. Whoa, 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 Legoshi, what are you doing? Damn. Oh, hello? Come on, Legoshi, don't ruin the moment. Whoa, 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 where did this come from? Oh my god. Guys. Hello? Romance. No! 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 Oh, Legoshi, you ruined the moment! Oh my god! But that's a valid question! You know? Damn. Like, he can't kiss her if she still likes Rui? Oh no. Oh my god, well maybe it's because you haven't said anything, sis. Damn. Oh. Oh. Whoa. Oh. Oh dear. Come on, Haru, you gotta get over Rui so y'all can get together. No, no, I hate it here. That can't be true. Hello? Excuse me? Who the fuck is that? Oh my god? Bro! Legoshi's about to be murdered! What the hell? Alright, everybody, let us get into the review. And before we get into it, I just want to talk about the OP again, because in the very first episode, like when I first saw the OP initially, I sort of thought to myself, and I was like, like, I feel like that this is not Legoshi. Like, even though I had kind of this idea that, like, this was, like, Legoshi running away with Haru in this scene in the OP basically is, like, a metaphor. Like, he's running away with Haru from his, like, worst instincts, right? But, like, the more I look at this, I feel like it's not him. Like, I feel like I know my Legoshi now. I feel like it's not him. I feel like genuinely, like, it's like a hyena or something. Just because, like, for some reason, this is giving me, like, the Lion King vibe. vibes, like if you've ever seen the hyenas from The Lion King, and they have a very like narrow sort of face and everything, and like that same sort of like the eye bulging. I don't know, it just reminded me of it. So I feel like that this is another character. Like I feel like that I'm finally committing, because the past 2 episodes I've been flip-flopping on it. I am committing to the fact that this is a new character, whether that's a different wolf that may put Haru in danger, or another carnivore like a hyena or something like I'm thinking of, but I don't think it's Legoshi. I think I was right that my first like instinct inside of my heart was correct to assume that is actually supposed to be like a different character, and that's supposed to be like foreshadowing or something. And so obviously we see some flashbacks from last episode, and then everybody is in the boys' locker room. The culprit is most likely no different than me, and I think that what causes this conversation to get, I don't want to say out of hand per se, but the reason why Legoshi cannot truly speak his mind is because of the two, I think that the anteater and the red panda are herbivores, right? Because he doesn't want to say the stuff that happened at the black market in front of them. Like that's sort of the vibe I'm getting, and so I feel like that is why like the atmosphere in here is a little bit like very, very tense, because Legoshi wants to be like, oh Bill, you know, like how can you say that when you did this, this, and this at the black market, but he can't say that in front of the herbivores because they'll like freak the fuck out, right? So this is just the boys' locker room for the entire drama club, I think. So let's talk about suspects, okay, really quick. I thought that it was the guy that wanted Temp's part in the play. I'm still kind of unsure whether or not I'm remembering that correctly, but I did rewatch the season recently, so I think it was him. He was the one who was like, oh, you know, I deserve Temp's part, right? Like, so I thought that he may have killed him out of, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, out of jealousy, out of if Tem's gone, I'll get the part. Like, you know, some sort of, like, situation like that. Then we have, like, this, like, panther guy. And then these two are herbivores, right? So then we have the eagle guy and then this guy. I think that Bill, like, having it be Bill, because Bill is the, tiger, right? I feel like that is too obvious. Like, that is too obvious for him to be the culprit. He's already been involved in the black market, right? Like, he has all this, like, you know, bad stuff going on. And so I feel like that making it Bill would be, like, the easiest, most predictable thing ever. I think that there's good evidence with the whole, like, oh, you know, he killed Tem because he wanted the part in the play thing. However, at the end of this episode, we see somebody standing, like, behind Legoshi, and they are taller than Legoshi. And I don't think that the little guy that wanted Tem's part in the play is taller than Legoshi. I think he's actually shorter, and so the implication that I'm getting is that whoever is standing behind Legoshi is probably the murderer, right? Like, that's sort of what I'm assuming, right? So if that assumption is right, it's probably one of the big guys, right? And so I feel like that in that case, it would actually be, like, the bear dude, right? Like, the other one, the one that's always, like, he's always smiling all the time, too, and so that's a creepy part, is that I'll show y'all in some of the scenes, but, like, that was something that was in the season 1, like, kind of, like, cliffhanger for season 2. Like, we saw somebody walking out of the bathroom after taking some supplements or something, probably from the black market, and then he was like, oh, what are you smiling for? Like, Legoshi said that to someone. So I feel like that if anybody, I don't know, like, he just is too happy and, like, too cool. Like, I feel like that there's something, like, with this bear here. It could have been the eagle, but, like, I feel like that it's not. Like, they did have that, like, you know, moment together, like, in the black market, like, arc, if you want to call it that, right? Like, as they were going home and stuff. But I feel like it's more likely that it is probably the bear guy. And, like, even think about this, okay? The bear is the one, like, right beside these two, like, herbivores here, if they are herbivores. Like, one of them's an anteater, but, like, ants aren't, like, you know what I mean? Like, ants aren't anthropomorphic like the rest of them are, so I feel like that would be considered herbivore somehow, right? And the panda, I'm not sure, but, like, I'm pretty sure, right? And so anyway, and so he's like, yeah, like, somebody's just like me. They laugh and get angry, and see, we see Legoshi says something to himself, and so in English he says, like, hungry or something, but here he says meat, and so what I'm assuming is that the Japanese word for meat and muscle sound the same, because basically what he says is like, oh, hungry, right? Like, they laugh, they cry, they get hungry, and everyone's like, what is Legoshi talking about? And Legoshi's like, oh yeah, I'm just so hungry because I worked up a sweat, you know, like, or whatever. But here, he actually says, like, no, not meat, muscles, right? Because he realizes he's, like, talking out loud, right? And so it's like, oh no, not meat, like, my muscles hurt from, like, working so hard, right? But see, you see everybody's profile except for, like, the bear guy, right? And you could say that that's just because they wanted an even number of 4, but, like, he has no reaction to this. He's not shown shown in this shot, right? It's just Bill and then the other ones. It's not like the other guy, right? It's not, I don't know what his name is. It's not the bear, right? All my muscles are sore. Like, I'm not psyched for today's club, right? And so that's what I'm saying. He's like, I think that the Japanese probably made a bit more sense because, like, meat and muscles, like, where's the connection? But it's because he's saying, like, you know, the same with the hunger thing. Oh, yeah, I worked up an appetite, you know, doing all of this stuff, I guess, like in the drama club, or like before the drama club, yesterday's drama club, like whatever excuse, like she's trying to say there. What? How did your muscles get sore? You're just a stagehand, right? So he's basically saying, like, how did your muscles get sore from yesterday's drama club meeting? You're just a stagehand, bro. Because I don't think they've actually had, like, drama club yet, but Legoshi's basically saying, you know, like, all of this is, like, making me work up an appetite. All this is making me work up a sweat type of thing, right? And see, like, okay, this guy, is he not looking kind of suspicious? He is. But, like, I don't know. But they both turn back. And see, he's just in the mirror pampering himself. I feel like that may almost be, like, a metaphor that it can't be the little guy that, like, you know, wanted the part in the show. Even though he did want the part in the show, when you think about it, like, in this scene, when everybody is, like, the overhead shot where you can see everyone, like, think about where everyone's placed. Like, everybody is basically placed on their own locker, or, like, basically, I would say it's a metaphor for thinking of themselves. Right? Like, he is so self-absorbed in the mirror over here that he is not thinking about, like, herbivores or whatever. And you could say that of all the other ones, except the eagle is kind of looking towards the panther guy, but everybody else is very, like, self-involved, except for the bear, who is, again, like, with the herbivores, right? So I feel like that may be the suspicious part, is that everybody else, and maybe, like, oh, everybody else is involved in their own life, and you know what they're doing, they're all, you know, self-absorbed and stuff, like they're not thinking about eating each other, right, or whatever, they're just like in their own little worlds, except for the one that's not, and it's the bear, right? Nowadays, I keep thinking about Tem, who was killed, and I was just like, that was kind of, this episode was kind of full of, like, awkward translations, because that's, like, a weird thing to say, but in English, again, they said something else, and see, you have, like, see, it seems like Bill is acting kind of sus, but he's, like, totally the red herring. It is absolutely not him. Like, I think he's just more irritated than anything, right? Because he's like, oh, like, what are you trying to say? Like, oh, you're suspecting us, right? So I feel like that he is just a Bakugo type character, where he gets very easily irritated, and this is just like a red herring. You know, his behavior is basically explained by his personality, right? Is what I'm trying to say, versus anything else. And so, you know, he saw it kind of like, oh, why are you bringing up this now? And then Legoshi's like, oh, cause Rui left the club, right? I feel like he's just making excuses, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's just kind of making stuff up, right? You know, like, he's just trying to think, because he can't tell anyone he's investigating. Oh, there we go again, your idealistic, fateful dog act. And I think that was very interesting, like, the fateful dog act thing, because the new drama club member comes in and calls Legoshi a dog. And that's actually important for later, right? Because something that happens, and I think that this is interesting, and I think that Pina did this on purpose. I think the character's name is Pina, right? And so I think that the goat, or whatever he is, he's like a sheep or something, right? I think that he basically pissed off all of the carnivores on purpose so they would stop infighting. That's my theory about them, because think about it, Bill is here calling Legoshi, you know, like, yo, your idealistic, faithful, like, dog act, right? He says something to him, I don't remember. We'll see as we get in there. Now I remember what he says. He calls him doggy. That's it, right? And so you have Bill saying the dog thing, then you have Pina saying the doggy thing, and then you have Bill later being like, she's a valuable member of this club. How dare you insult him but they were fighting earlier, right? And so I feel like that wasn't a coincidence. I feel like that Pina was like, the best way to get people to unite is for them to fight against a common enemy. And so Bill and Legoshi will stop fighting with each other if Bill feels like he has to defend his own, which is Legoshi. So I feel like that Pina basically did all of this on purpose because he saw that Bill and Legoshi were fighting, and so as soon as, like, it instigated that a herbivore was attacking Legoshi, Bill was just like, well, you can't say that about my, you know, about my carnivore buddy, right? Like, and they're not even that close of, like, friends when you really think about it. It's almost like how you can insult your sibling, but if anybody else, you know what I mean? Like, I can say, oh yeah, like, my sister's so, like, such and such, but if you say that about my sister, I'd be like, well, excuse me, like, we're about to, you know, we're about to fight, right? And so I feel like that's basically what it is, right? And so anyway, Bill is also bringing up the rumors, right? And this was just, like, such a hard to watch scene, I guess, right? See, you got all upset. So gross, so disgusting, right? And so it's just like, oh, even if you do suspect us, you're doing, like, worse stuff, Legoshi. Like, that's basically what he's saying. Besides, you're the one that no one trusts. I've got more friends than you, and I'm trusted. And I'm like, are you trusted, though? How can you say that? Last time at the black market, right? And so he wants to say it, but then he looks towards, right? He looks towards these two. And who's still here, right? Lurking in the corner is like the bear guy, right? So he's like, say it, Legoshi, why don't you say it? And then these two are just like, yeah, Legoshi, what do you have to say? And he's just like, I can't, right? He can't say it in front of the herbivores or that will cause like more tension and panic. And I just love this. I feel like that they are kind of gonna be like unlikely friends by the end of this because they were definitely kind of enemies in season 1. But now I feel like this is a very like, again, I don't know if I can think of a better character, but like this is very like Bakugo vibe to me, right? That's like Bill's character, right? And so I feel like that even though they kind of like they're at each other's throats, I feel like that when it matters, maybe they will become friends despite everything Bill has done, right? In order to catch like the real killer. Because maybe when it comes down to it, Bill will actually like side with Legoshi like at the time that matters, right? And so then like, you know, this guy's just like, oh, you know, that's enough, guys, right? And so he seems to be the peacekeeper, but like there's something not innocent about these. I don't know, this guy's just too happy all the time, too happy looking, not concerned enough. I don't know, there's just something. And so now we get to see Pina, and so he's like, oh, is this the male locker room? And I think he also says like, oh yeah, drenches of like, you know, masculine scent or something, like deodorant, you know what I mean, that Axe body spray. And so he's like, oh, well, excuse me, right? And so I love him. I think he looks like Akechi from Persona if Akechi was converted into a Beastars character. And I think the personality is pretty similar as well. Now, I wonder why he took down the T poster. I guess this is because it was Tem's old locker, or maybe even like Rui's old locker, and he's just like, he just took the stuff out, right? That wound on your arm looks painful, and so I guess that was from, again, the Lions thing. How many stitches did you get? 35? I think that's crazy. I cried recently taking my molars out. So they say wisdom teeth in English, I think, if I remember correctly. And so, like, I don't know, he's just, like, he's trying to relate to him, right? And he's like, oh, you carnivores, putting yourself in danger all the time. Like, I would cry getting my molars taken out. He. Like, that's kind of the vibe. Like, oh, you know, like, I can't handle pain like you carnivores can't. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from them. And then he just gives Legoshi his trash. Oh, well, I'm off now, so please fight to your heart's content. See ya. And then it was just like, what? Like, what was that? And then, I don't think that they said the doggy thing. Oh no, they did. I guess I missed it. I don't know when he did that, actually. I must have missed the subtitle. Maybe it was like, yeah, here, take care of this. You know what I mean? Like, take care of like the trash or something. I guess I missed it. I don't know what happened, but yeah. And so apparently it did happen, but yeah. And so see, now Bill's all angry. He's like, oh, who's that pretty boy, right? And so then he's like, Legoshi, you called it, you know, he called you doggy, right? Like, that's like derogatory, I guess, like the Eagle guy saying that. And he's like, oh, canine, it's okay. His attitude sucks. Let's all go beat him up. We're not beating up anyone, right? So I feel like it's, again, like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, I feel like he did that on purpose to unite the carnivores. Because there's nothing that unites the carnivores like, you know, I guess somebody outside of the group, somebody that's not a carnivore talking smack, basically. And now we have, like, Rui stuff. They're basically just explaining, like, how he killed the boss, right? We saw some of this dialogue already. And so it seemed like I was really confused by this episode for a couple of reasons at first, to be perfectly honest. Like, as I was, you know, thinking about what I wanted to say in my analysis and stuff, and what had confused me originally was the fact that, like, Rui here was perfectly willing to, like, you know, not be alive anymore, I guess, let's just say it like that, right? But then, like, when confronted with that later, he, you know, resolves to live, like, he doesn't want to die. So yeah, at first I was just kind of confused because it seemed like those two things contradicted each other. Like, here he's perfectly willing to get eaten, and then later he doesn't want to get eaten anymore. And so I was kind of confused at first, but I realized that it's not even about that, like, he stared death in the face and decided to live and changed his mind. It's about, like, control. At least I think so. And so here, he was in perfect control of the situation. And so he was like, you know, like, eat me, right? Like, he was literally, like, saying that to them. And so he was perfectly in control, not the carnivores. And so when it happens that he gets knocked out, and they're like, oh, eat this meat or we'll eat you type of thing, like, then it's like, but they're in control. And so he needs to regain regain control, and a way to regain control and then also live is by becoming the boss, right? And so they seem like way more worried about like who the successor is and like just standing around and being confused, right? Like compared to like actually eating him. And I feel like that the reasoning for this is just probably because like they're trying to show us, at least I think, that not everyone like in the Lion's gang is like mahaha evil, I'm going to like kidnap this girl and eat them, you know, like we saw last season. I feel like that is probably more likely that they're just, I don't know, it's kind of like what Legoshi was saying, right? Because I don't want to humanize them, because obviously they've participated in bad things, and I'm not trying to excuse their behavior, but the way that I sort of see it is that Legoshi said, whoever ate Tem is just like me. Like, they laugh, they cry, you know, like they get hungry, which is what the English said, I guess, right? But in this case, I feel like that's actually applied to these guys too. And so first I was like, you know, this seems very like anime convenient for all these lions to just like decide to elect Rui as their leader. Like, it seemed a bit contrived, but the more that I thought about it, and like even this scene where they're like talking instead of eating him and everybody's just standing around, like it seemed a little contrived at first, but the more that I thought about it, the more I realized that it's actually maybe more realistic if you think of it in the context that like this is just these guys' job. You know what I mean? Like, they're still like yakuza and like gang members, if you want to call it that, but like they're gang members like with a livelihood. Like, they're just worried about how, you know, they're gonna feed their lion families at home, basically, right? And so it's kind of interesting because you kind of think like, oh, you know, why didn't they just eat Rui? That doesn't seem like it fits in very well, like with the kind of like people that these characters like seem to be, like considering what we saw last season. But at the same time, this actually makes kind of a lot of sense when you think of them as people that their job is in jeopardy, so they don't even give a shit about Rui, because like Rui's a quick meal, but it's like, bro, if the gang, you know, if the gang disbands, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna feed my wife and my 3 lion kids or something, right? Like, I feel like that's almost the thought process, and that's why they're panicking. And so you see that kind of like humanity in them. They don't care, like they're not just, you know, like tunnel visioning on eating Rui. Like, they're more concerned about the fact like, bro, we have no boss. How do we, you know, how do we file our taxes? They're not filing taxes, right? Obviously they're in illegal activity. They're not filing their taxes, but you know what I mean? It's like, bro, does the other gang have like dental benefits? Like, you know what I mean? Is the other gang gonna pay my health insurance? Like, I think that's kind of the vibe. It's not that, but that's the vibe, you know what I mean? And so it almost makes them like more human and multifaceted. Like, they're not just villains and they're not just monsters, they're just guys that are like in a gang and like just lost their job, or at least they're thinking, right? And so you have Rui over here and he's like, bro, what? Right? Like, they still do bad things, obviously, but like they are having a human moment, I guess, is what I could say. Because they still participate in, you know, crime, like the trafficking and everything like that, but they're having, I think that's what surprises Rui, is they're having a very human moment, despite doing very, like, not nice and illegal and, like, morally, like, horrible, like, stuff, right? Oh, yeah, like, that brat wants us to eat him, like, I guess we can, right? And so they kind of, like, like, they don't seem to really care. They're just like, he wants to get eaten, so, like, why not, I guess, right? But then he looks him up on the phone, so it seems like he almost recognizes him for a minute, right? Like, it seems like he almost recognizes who Rui is, but then looks it up, right, just to make sure, and it's like, I'll take the flank, I want the thighs, like, they're all just talking, and he's just like, hey, wait, and they're just like, there's plenty for you, too, like, listen, and so he's like, I thought you looked familiar, and so then he finds out that it is, Rui, so then he's like, don't eat him, okay, I got a better idea, and so they see that he's basically, like, one of the candidates, to be the Beastar, and so this again is such a comedic scene when you kind of look at it in that hindsight, that all of these lions are just like, you know, thinking about their own job and stuff. Because look at Rui's face. Rui is just like, this is not how I expected things to go. Like, he's just so confused. So what do you say? How about we put this young star actor, a herbivore, at the top of the Shishigumi, right? And so that's like his plan. And they're just like, oh, what? And then like Rui's just like, what? Like, this is not how I expected things to go. And I feel like that this is the same sort of like darkness effect that was shown earlier. Like, as the headmaster, he was saying something to the extent of like, oh, I don't want Rui back just so he can like be the Beastar and stuff. I've seen this effect before. I don't know where it was, but I feel like it was around there somewhere. I feel like that he's basically panicking because he has basically gone from, like, being a public image on, like, one side, on the legal side, like, for people like the Lion Mayor and stuff like that. Like, he's basically gone from that to now he still has to be the face of a public image, but just for, like, the seedy side, for the carnivores. And so I feel like that's why Rui doesn't want that, because the whole thing that I was saying was that, like, last episode, it sort of implies, like, oh, Rui wants to stay out of the spotlight, he wants to stay in the darkness, he doesn't want to be the Beastar anymore. He doesn't want to go through the legal route, I guess you could say, in terms of, like, you know, climbing up in the system and then dismantling it. He doesn't want that anymore, right? And so I feel like, though, at the beginning, like, in this moment, he also doesn't want this, because you would think to yourself, like, I basically, you know, sacrificed my own public image to be the Beastar, because I didn't want that anymore, because all those people are corrupt. So Rui is just here like, bro, like, you know what I mean? I ran here to get away from that shit, and now y'all are doing the same shit, but in reverse, right? You know, and so I feel like that's why he doesn't want to be it at first, because he's like, bro, I already had to be a public figure. I already had to be public and pretend. I don't want to pretend. Like, I came here so I didn't need to pretend anymore, so I could just shoot people and y'all could eat me, right? And so they're like, hey, what are they saying, right? And so he's realizing that it's kind of all the same, no matter where you go. Like, you know, the legal society, or I guess the legal way to do it, the public-facing people, like the politicians, are going to use you, and then the illegal people are gonna use you. Like, there's no way out. And so I think that he basically decided, if everyone is gonna use me, why not, like, use it to my advantage, right? Like, he realized that the path that he wanted doesn't necessarily exist, and so he can, like, work in the darkness and be the leader of this corrupt organization, and I think be a bit more of himself. Like, I don't think he's putting on an act as much as, like, he was, like, when he was doing the plays and stuff like that. Like, I think he's being more of his, like, dark self that he probably kind of always was, like, his edgy self that he was hiding this whole time. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to think of it like that. Like, he was just like, bro, I left one public position for kind of a public position, but in darkness, you know? But that may be better for Rui. I think he's actually enjoying being the boss, to be perfectly honest, because he says, I'll find true strength this time. It's like, if I couldn't find true strength the legal route, I guess I can find true strength in this, like, vigilante, seedy underbelly route. And so, I can't show you guys this picture, obviously, but Rui is just like, go ahead and continue to discuss. I'll narrow down the choices for you, right? And so he was ready. If I'm gonna be used as a pawn for carnivores, right? And so I think I missed something here, or something was missed. I don't know. My screenshots today are not working out very well. And so I think that he basically was trying to say, you know, like, if I need to be, or if I'm going to be a pawn for the carnivores, I don't want to live. Like, I think that that's what it implies, whether I see the other line of dialogue or not. And it seems like one of them, like, smacked, like, the gun out of his hand, and that inadvertently, like, smacked him unconscious, right? That's sort of what I'm getting. And this guy calls him son. He's like, son, how are you feeling? And I'm just like, oh, like, I feel like that this guy, like, this free guy is gonna be like his surrogate father by the end of this and everything. But yeah, and so I feel like that, what changed? Because I was like, okay, well, first Rui doesn't want to live, and now he does. Like, what's the, you know what I mean? But now I get it. It's because he was in control before, but he is no longer in control anymore. And, like, you see him, he even turns around, like, he buries his face in shame, because he's like, this is worse. I failed to die, and now I can't die on my own terms anymore. And he also, you know, he's talking about how he hates cats and stuff. We were waiting for you to wake up as we all gathered to talk. Yeah, so everybody in the gang now has basically gathered to, like, make this decision. Don't put it like I should be grateful. You should have devoured me while I was passed out. We can't just do that, right? Like, oh, we have, you know, we have principles, we have morals, right? Is this about your absurd proposal? Well, I oppose. And so I thought that was funny, because now we can actually see, I can't tell who's for or against, but okay, so we have 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then we have 5, 10, 15. So it's 13 to 15, right? So it's pretty much 50-50. So yeah, okay. And so he didn't vote yet. I, of course, understand those who oppose so much it hurts. So that's why we've decided that further debate is useless, right? And so that was kind of a weird or interesting thing to say. Like, was he saying, like, oh, I understand those who oppose, like, in relation to boss, maybe? Like, who their boss was before? Maybe it feels like it is, you know, a disservice service to the gang and the vision that the boss wanted, and so maybe that's what he's saying? I don't know. But yeah, and so they're 2 votes away, and so it seems like he may have abstained, and then Rui would have been like the last vote, like if he were to say yes, right? We cannot come to a conclusion without taking action, and so they basically try to force Rui to eat this steak, right? And he's like, what? Why don't we enjoy a meal together and foster our friendship? And so that was just dark, right? And so you even see like all the lions are just obviously staring at him in this scene. We really want you to become familiar with our culture, right? And so this is the meat of the worthless buffalo who betrayed us. It's not the culture of just eating meat. Like, it's not just about like, oh, you know, Rui needs to eat meat if he's gonna hang out like with the lions, right? It's specifically the worthless buffalo who betrayed us. And so it seems to almost imply that other than the boss, like who was doing the whole kidnapping stuff, it seems that maybe it could imply that this is like a ritual for them, that if somebody betrays them, they kill them. And I don't know if a buffalo is a herbivore or not, but that could even apply to like, you know, like say it was, I don't know, say it was like a dog or something, like it was like, you know, a kind of a canine like Legoshi who betrayed them. I think that they would eat his meat too, because the whole thing is like the betrayal. Like that's the important part, is like we sit here and eat the meat of those like who betrayed us. I feel like that was the idea or the intention, that this is a ritual or a custom, right? And so he's about to vomit, obviously. They're testing whether or not I can eat the same food as them. And I feel like that's not just like the food is in the meat, it's also just like the metaphor of like ideology. Do I have enough of the same ideology as them to devour those that were weak enough to betray the organization, right? Because I feel like that the whole thing that Rui says is like at the end of this episode, right, is maybe it was last episode, is like there are winners and there are losers, right? And like that was like Rui's whole thing, right? And so I feel like that in this context, it is basically that, like, this buffalo was the loser, but you could be the winner, right? Like, that sort of thing. And so I feel like that, like, it's interesting. Like, do you subscribe to that philosophy that the world is, you know, kill or be killed, eat or get eaten, because we killed the person that betrayed us, right? And so it's about, like, also subscribing to that ideology as much as it's about eating the meat. If I eat this means I join the Shishigumi as their pawn. But if I refuse, I'll surely end up with the same fate as this, right? So again, like, he's basically considering, he's like, you know, like, the world is killed or be killed, so am I going to, you know, participate in, like, the winners and losers ideology, or am I going to, you know, like, lose, basically, right? And so he decides he doesn't want to end up like that. He doesn't want to end up to have the same fate as that, right? And so he would rather, you know, kill or be killed, like, the strong survive, the weak die, like, that whole ideology and stuff. I feel like that's basically why, and I wonder if the different color lines are also sort of, I don't know, like, sort of metaphorical in the sense, like, some people believe that you have, like, I guess this isn't necessarily a belief, this is also a psychology thing too, but you have your id, your ego, and there's a third one, and I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. It's like your, I don't know, it's your super ego or something. It's something like that. It's like a 3 thing. So I wonder if these lines are supposed to represent the 3 thing. I'm gonna look up what it is. Oh, I was right! It is id, ego, and super ego. Oh my god, look at me, the psychology knowledge. Okay, so the super ego plays a critical and moralizing role, right? The ego is organized, realistic agent that mediates between the instinctual desires of the id and the critical super ego. So I feel like that would basically mean that, like, the instinct for Rui is not to eat that because he's a herbivore, but the super ego is like the morals of it, and then the ego is like the realistic of it as well, right? And so the ego is the mediator, and so like Rui's ego basically is saying to like eat it despite his instincts and despite like his morals and stuff, but it may also be like his morals are like kill or be killed, right? And so that's like, this is like the in-between basically. I don't know. Could it be that I'm vexed? That was kind of a weird thing to say, like he's angry enough to live is kind of like what I got from that. He's like, you know, at first he was gonna vomit, but now he's like motivated, like what's this feeling that I have, this adrenaline? Oh, I guess it's because I'm angry enough to live. And so yeah, they're all sort of watching like, oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? And they seem actually like very surprised that he does do it. And then all of like, you know, the lines kind of go away, like he breaks through all these different lines. Again, I'm not sure if that's what they mean. There may be a like more cultural like metaphor behind that I don't quite understand, right? Like it may be, because like, you know, other cultures also have like, there's 3 parts of your consciousness, or like other cultures have like, you know, chakras and stuff like that. And so I'm not entirely sure if my Freudian, right, like explanation is the right one. It may just be like the battle between like other cultures' definition of like the different parts of your soul and everything. And so yeah, I don't know what it is exactly, but yeah, we have this delicious, like bring me more, like type of thing that goes on here. And so I feel like that, is this an act though, or is it true? Because that's the interesting question, right? Is that I did read, because basically what I do now is that before I do the episode, I go on the Reddit, but because the show's already come out, I go on the Reddit thread that was made when people were like watching it as it was airing like in Japan. And so people were saying that deer are actually, I don't remember what they called it, but they said that deer are like, it's like convenience. It's like opportunistic, I guess. Like if there is a piece of meat and they have to eat it, they will like eat it, right? Or something like that. Or like I think that they even said like, you know, deer will eat rabbits and stuff if there's nothing else around. I don't remember what it was exactly. And so Rui is like an opportunistic meat eater when you think about it, right? And so that's really interesting. And so now, obviously, we have everybody in the club is fawning over Pina, right? And so this is what I mean, bro. Like, this guy's just so happy all the time. Like, even the herbivores kind of look pissed. Like, all the girls are like, you know, fawning over this guy. Even this person's fawning a little bit, right? This guy seems happy, but like, look at the carnivores. Like, all of the carnivores look annoyed, and even the panda looks annoyed, but like, this guy's happy. And I'm just like, sir, you're so suspicious. Like, that guy, he's just so happy all the time. Like, you know what I mean? And maybe it's because he's high all the time. Like, literally off like, you know, those supplements from the black market. That's why he's so happy all the time, right? And so yeah, they think he's handsome and everything, right? I'm a first year thin horned sheep. And so I guess though, this isn't a first year as in the incoming first years that the snake was talking about, because they said soon it will be spring and the first years will come in and change the dynamic of the school. I don't think that's happened yet. I think that he's basically like first year like Juno, but just didn't decide to join the drama club until their second term, because they're in their second semester, right? They're in second semester of first term. So he's been here. It's just like he just hasn't, you know, wanted to join the drama club until now for whatever reason. So see, everybody else is like, you know what I mean? Like all the girls are kind of fawning, not really like Juno or anything, right? But like, I don't know, just look at this. Like Legoshi, like there's some skeptical faces, and then there's just this guy, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm just so sus, right? But you know, I feel like I like this pretty boy. I think that they are probably like, they fit a niche of character archetype probably for a lot of people, right? Because like, yes, Rui was kind of like that pretty boy, but this is like even more pretty boy. Again, that Akechi type like face for some reason that I keep thinking about. I like, okay, so you see too, with everybody clapping, okay, Juno claps probably out of politeness because she wants everyone to like her. I think that everybody else pretty much claps except for the cheetah, right? Because obviously she's a carnivore as well, question mark? I don't know why she's not sitting with them, but whatever, right? But see, okay, so look, so nobody's clapping except for Juno, who likes, you know, attention, who basically wants everyone to like her, and he's clapping, and I'm just like, is that enough to like make somebody suspicious of murder? But he's like all the herbivores are clapping, except like, you know, it's, I don't know, I'm very sus. I'm just very suspicious of it all. Why are we adding new members during this period? Don't tell me you're trying to replace Rui with him, right? And he's like, come on, that's not it at all. And then Pina's like, maybe it is, right? Because Pina's just like, maybe it is, right? And then they look at all of their faces, they're so pissed. With the star actor gone, it's the harsh reality that the drama club suffers without an undeniably handsome face, and I just love him. He's so full of himself. That wasn't meant to be an insult, it's only the truth. Plus, regarding carnivores, it's scientifically proven they're unable to develop a beautiful face due to their everyday torment because of desire and instinct, and I'm like, bro, that is definitely not true. And so again, okay, everyone gets angry. Even Juno, who was clapping a second ago, and this guy's just like, sup, bro? Sup? Like, his behavior is weird, and he seems shocked when everybody else overreacts. Like, there is something going on with that guy. I don't know what it is, but like, I don't know if it's murder. I don't know if he did it. But there's something going on with him. I don't like it. Are you saying that all carnivores are ugly? My only redeeming feature is my looks. Oh, so I think that's Pina. Pina's like, oh yeah, but don't worry. Like, all I have is my looks. Like, you guys have your strength. Isn't that nice? You know what I mean? And then you have Legoshi, who's like, I'm okay with being ugly. I'm okay with being whatever. I don't care. I just hope he won't cause some weird uproar in the club and cause drama, basically, is basically what Legoshi's trying to say. Because Legoshi's over here trying to, like, find a murderer, and, like, you know, Pina's out here instigating everybody, right? And so, then he says, that's why the devouring incident happened this spring? So that was kind of a weird thing to say. The star actor disappeared. And so, yeah, that's what I don't get exactly. So I'm a little confused about what he means by that's why the devouring incident happened this spring. I don't know if I missed a screenshot, but I think he's basically saying, like, da-da-da-da-da, you know, carnivores' instincts, or, like, you know, the fact they struggle with their instincts is why the devouring incident happened. And then he's saying, like, and that led to the star actor disappearing, which is why I'm here, because I'm the pretty face. And there's a wolf with an impressive battle scar on his arm. What is it? I'm an ordinary animal, right? And so I feel like, plus I work backstage. How did you end up with this when you're so reserved, right? And so it's almost like, you really do seem crazy. I'll try not to aggravate you. And so I feel like that he said, like, oh, we'll see, like, we have a carnivore right here who clearly struggles with his instincts, right? He can't have a handsome face because clearly he's getting into fights all the time. Like, I feel like that's basically what he's saying. And I feel like he's low-key, like, accusing the carnivores as well. He's like, you know, that's why the devouring incident happened. Like, one of you did it, so then the star actor left, and now I'm here, and now this wolf, like, kind of looks a little sus. Like, I feel like that's basically what they're saying, right? And so then I feel like that this was all on purpose, because when you look at it, I feel like that Pina knew that they were fighting in the locker room, knew that there was some tension between the carnivores, and what's the best way to get everybody to side with one another? It's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. He instigated it, so Bill would be like, oh, you know, Legoshi's been a member of the drama club and a fellow carnivore for a long time, okay, you can get fucked, okay, how dare you say something bad about Legoshi? And then Legoshi's just here like, Bill, you literally tried to kill me, right? You tried to kill me like 2 seconds ago, Bill, right? And so I feel like that's, again, like, kind of like the weird thing. Like, that's right, we won't let you drag down Legoshi, we won't let you slander the good name of Legoshi, but I think Pina did that on purpose, because the best way to unify a group is to give them a common enemy, and the common enemy is Pina, right? And again, everyone is pissed. Even, like, they seem a little like, oh yeah, like, you tell him, carnivores, okay? Because I feel like that even they, you know, like Legoshi a little bit, but, like, guys, like, what is with this guy? He's always smiling at something. Like, this is just creepy. You know what I mean? Everyone's getting in the way of my culprit search. Look, it's rare for Legoshi to get this angry, right? And so Bill's just like, see how mad you made him? We never see him like this. It's obviously because of you. And Legoshi's like, no, it's because all of y'all are annoying me. And so then he yawns, then he stretches, and he's just like, oh, sorry, I got tired. Like, I just got really sleepy. You know, I'll see y'all later. So I feel like that this was all just an act, right? Like, I feel like that he's basically doing all of this on purpose. So here's something interesting. Doesn't the drink that Bill is drinking kind of seem like it could be the same drink that was left for Tem? Like, you had that drink bottle that said for Tem. And so I feel like that they're trying to make it so, like, Bill is, like, the obvious, right? Like, Bill is the red herring, as I keep saying. They want you to think that it's Bill, but it's not Bill. And I think that the reasoning is that this can is evidence that he left something at Tem's grave, but he left something because he genuinely feels bad. Like, despite his, I guess, hard exterior, if you want to call it that, he genuinely, like, cared about Tem enough to leave him, like, an offering, right, at the grave, I guess, if you want to call it that, or I guess at the site, right, where he was killed. And so I feel like that that's actually foreshadowing in Bill's favor, that he is not, it, because, you know, we have this, I want to boil, crush, and swallow him. Like, it's so, like, oh, you know, obviously it's Bill. Bill's the aggressive one, da-da-da-da-da, right? But it's not him. I don't think so. Anyway, you say that, but here you are showing up for the carnivores meeting for once. You must have pent-up feelings too, right? And then you see that, like, Legoshi seems to have a cold or something, so I guess that was staying, like, out at night and stuff. I know why you're here, Legoshi. Do you think one of us who devoured, do you think the one who devoured Tem is one of us, right? And so, again, we don't see the anteater and the red panda here, so I'm assuming that they're considered herbivores again. But yeah, you have the panther, you have, again, this guy who I thought may have killed him for the part in the play, and then you have this guy, and so he looks a little concerned now. Like, he doesn't look as, like, happy face anymore. But could that be because now Legoshi's on to one of them, right? So the only time he's concerned is, like, now that he may be, suspicious, I guess. Is that Legoshi suspicious of him? I gotta say that hurt a little. Well, sorry, but I'm here today because I wanted to have a proper talk with everyone. I'm a suspect too, since I'm a wolf. And so yeah, this is like the first time that this guy seems like actually surprised. All of us here can't deny the possibility of devouring Tem, right? For that reason, well, and so then you have like Legoshi basically trying to be like Rui. I think he's trying to give a rousing speech. He's trying to say, if we want to clear the doubt against carnivores, what we should do now is protect the herbivores of the drama club on a daily basis. We should be strong. We should be fierce. We should be carnivores, right? We should be Beastars. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting, is that like Legoshi is trying to give like a speech, And so then like Bill is just like, bro, what? Whereas look at this guy. Guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm like focusing on this too much. And like Bill's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, don't do something you're not used to. Don't lecture us. Don't try to be like Rui. First of all, we don't need it. Second of all, we've been considerate without you like telling us to do it, right? And so he's like, oh, he's right this time. That's Legoshi thinking. Your actions are much more convincing than your words. And so I really like this from Bill actually, right? Because this also plays into the whole red herring thing. If he is not the murderer, think about like actions speak louder than words in that context, because his words would lead you to think that he's a very aggressive guy, right? That he's very like, I want to kill him and boil him and turn him into soup or whatever, right? But his actions are stronger. And what was his action? At least from what I am predicting, his action was leaving something at the site because he was genuinely sorry that Tem had died, right? So even though Bill has a very, like, aggressive exterior on the outside, you could argue that if actions are more convincing than words, like, the words that he says, it's just, like, hot air. It's just aggressiveness. But deep inside, he is maybe actually kind of good, right? Obviously, he still drinks the rabbit's blood and all that stuff, so you can't say he's totally good, but he's not a murderer. So here's where I'm kind of confused at the point, because they're like, oh, your actions are more convincing than your words. You spent the night with the rabbit. And so I feel like that, like obviously they kind of revert into like teenage boys and they want to be like, okay, Legoshi, like tell us, like, is it possible? You know what I mean? But I feel like that what he's basically saying is that your actions speak more than your words. And the fact that you're willing to be with, I guess, quote unquote, that you're quote unquote in love with Haru means that you see her as an equal in theory. Like you see her as an equal being worthy of love versus just being a herbivore, right? Or like something like that. And so maybe that's what he meant, but then they get into like teenage boy stuff. And see, look at this. Like this guy seems particularly interested. And again, I'm like, no. If you're bringing that topic up, I'm leaving. And then Bill's like, wait, hold on, stay a while. Like, look at his face. He has just such like a punchable, but also like, I don't even know how to describe the facial expression. And then you just see like, Legoshi is just like it keeps like zooming in, right? But anyway, all they did was sleep beside each other. And so Legoshi looks at the water, and I feel like he does that because he's thinking about like the fountain, maybe like where the incident happened where they met in the first place. But then also it's just like the anime character turns away and like can't tell them the truth type thing, right? Oh, I get it. You didn't do it, right? And Legoshi's just like, listen, either way, there's no way I'm telling any of you. And he says something like, it's a source of energy enough to live as a virgin forever. And then the ice cold icicles come in and everybody's just like, Legoshi, what? Like, that's no weird thing to say. He's basically saying like he's content with having no sex as long as, I don't know, the love is strong or something. That's what makes you a true pervert, Legoshi. Oh dear. Now I understand the reason behind the glimpses of your darkness. The way you love must be something close to faith. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't understand what they meant, And even in English, they basically say the exact same thing, and I still don't get it. Could you be working your feelings for her by caring for herbivores as a whole? So it's basically like you're working at your feelings for Haru because you want to care about herbivores, and somehow you kind of implanted that onto Haru, I guess, right? Because he says, like, you know, this also kind of confused me, but he was basically saying, you know, like, this is a little intense for, like, a high school crush, I think he says in English. Just have fun, like, you know, your teenage years and teenage relationships are supposed to be about fun, whereas Legoshi almost sees it as a sacred vow. I think maybe then by faith, what they kind of meant was faith in maybe the context of, like, religion, not religion, like, not to get that heavy-handed with it, but you understand what I mean? It's something, it's not like love, but it's more akin to faith. Like, it's more like Haru represents Legoshi's moral belief system of, like, how herbivores and carnivores should coexist and, like, what he wants for society. And so, like, working out his feelings for Haru is also through advocating for all herbivores and how he treats all herbivores. I don't know. That's just kind of what I guess. I don't know. I'm just confused. Like, I don't get it. I don't get the whole faith thing. And so if one of y'all could tell me, like, that would be great. And so, yeah, he can't smell anything, and I guess that's, again, just because of his cold. And that also may be convenience, because if he got close enough to the bear guy right now to be able to smell him, since they're all, like, in each other's face, the bear guy may have something, like, a scent on him, because he may still be up to no good somewhere else, right? So, if you want to go one-on-one with Legoshi, now's your chance. Oh, okay. And so he's basically saying, hey, if you want to, like, fight Legoshi, he can't smell you coming. Oh, who said that? That's interesting. I doubt it was the bear, but, like, what if the bear, like, went to go confront him at the end? Because at the end of this episode, somebody, like, stands behind Legoshi. What if he decided to take the opportunity because Legoshi can't smell, and he knows that Legoshi can't smell because they all said it in front of each other just now? Oh my god. So now it's, like, I think that they were saying that sarcastically, like, oh, Bill, you know, if you want to beat up Legoshi, now's your chance. He can't smell anything, right? Like, that was the whole thing? But it's not, like, it is, but it's not Bill. It's probably the actual murderer. Oh my god, this is not good. I feel like, though, that means the murderer thing is gonna be resolved pretty soon, though, which I guess makes sense, because, like, we are on episode 3, so I guess, like, given the fact that this is 12 episodes, I guess what I could see is that basically that a lot of anime, like, how long are arcs from manga usually in anime? Well, it depends on how long the manga arc was. But I've watched anime with arcs that are about, like, 4 to 5 episodes. And so it would kind of make sense if the murder investigation is, like, the next episode and the episode after. Like, the murderer confronts Legoshi because he thinks it's, like, an opportunistic time. That kind of erases the fact, though, of Legoshi having to, like, find out who did it if the murderer literally comes to punch him in the face, right? You know what I mean? But it kind of makes sense, and so then that would be resolved, and then we would move on to the new arc for the second half of the season, because even in the first season, we had the play, then the play went away, and then we had other stuff going on, and so now I feel like the murder, like, arc, or whatever we're gonna call it, yeah, it would kind of make sense for the murderer to be the one to confront Legoshi at this point, because they think that they can beat Legoshi when he's down, you know? And so, I don't know, though, because that's kind of weird. Like, why wouldn't you just, you know, stay in the shadows, right? Like, I feel like that hurting Legoshi and exposing your identity, like, Legoshi didn't even have a clue who it was yet, so really, it's kind of early to play all your cards like that, if it is the murderer who's behind Legoshi and about to beat him up right now. But it could also be a red herring, because at first I thought, oh, maybe it's the bear guy, because if the bear guy is the murderer, he could be trying to, like, you know, beat up Legoshi and get him to, like, not solve the crime, basically intimidate him into silence. But what if it's Bill meeting up with Legoshi, because Bill is realizing that Legoshi is, like, out alone at night, and he's clearly trying to investigate, and what if Bill knows something and decides to come clean with Legoshi about what he knows? And so we think, like, it's, again, a red herring. We think that it's the murderer behind Legoshi, but really, it's Bill with important information to help solve the murder. And so now, this is where things get, like, extra kind of weird, right? Is that, like, like Haru and Legoshi have this scene, and I saw other people say this too, that they don't really know how they felt about it, because it feels like the relationship kind of retroactively got worse or started back at square one, like, oh, like, you know, they're kind of like taking away everything that happened in the first season, and I kind of feel that almost, but I don't know, like, I'm willing to wait and, like, wait it out, you know, because I haven't heard anyone be like, oh yeah, the manga, like, pulled a Promise Neverland and the ending was awful. Like, I've never heard anybody say that, and so I feel like that was probably, like, an anime only, like, being, like, justifiably concerned, right, about, like, what are they doing to Haru and Legoshi's relationship, but that it'll actually make sense when we get there, right? And so, there was a time where I would get bothered by the difference, in our, physiques. And so, but now I get this rather happy feeling inside, right? I can still protect her from here on out. So I feel like that's why his mindset has kind of changed. Because at first he was kind of self-hating at maybe, like, their relationship, right? Like, oh, you know, like, I'm a carnivore, I'm this, I'm that, right? But now that he's learning to embrace his strength, he's also, like, happy about, I guess, Haru's, like, you know, that Haru is a herbivore, because now he can protect her better. Like, it's that, you know, embracing the strength that Rui sort of talked about. But doesn't that also inadvertently make it so Haru won't like him anymore? Because Haru's whole problem was kind of that, like, all of these guys kind of treat her as, like, innocent and in need of protection. Like, you know, this innocent maiden in need of protection, in need of saving and everything. But Legoshi didn't really think of her that way until, like, she genuinely needed saving, right? He saw her more, I don't know, like, I guess his awkwardness made it so he saw her more equally, or treated her, I guess, just differently than people had in the past. Like, Legoshi's consideration for the carnivores and, like, how he sort of, like, made himself small to be around them, like, that was different than anything any other guy had did, because any other guy was thinking, I'll protect you because I'm the stronger one, whereas Legoshi didn't really think that way, and so that didn't, like, infect their relationship. But now he's saying that he's, like, happy because now he can protect her. I do see her as male sees a female, right? And so I feel like that, you know, that may be the problem, question mark, because Haru didn't necessarily want him to be that way. We even see that last episode, I think, or maybe it was the first episode, when they were talking to each other and Haru was just like, oh, you know, you don't need to protect me from the bullies. I can take care of it myself. Like, I feel like the reason why she said that was because she doesn't want Legoshi to become like all of the other guys. Like, all the other guys who were so focused on protecting her that they don't see her as an equal or as a person. And so maybe the reason why the relationship isn't working out right here is because, like, Legoshi's regressing. You know what I mean? Like, Legoshi's actually regressing, and the parts that Haru liked about him before, maybe, like, you know what I mean? He may not be acting the same way he was before, and so that's why she's, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you usually crouch down for me, right? Because he made himself small. It's okay, we're almost done. Okay, so he, you know, you usually crouch down for me. You make yourself smaller. But now I don't want to make myself smaller, because now I, like, want to feel like, you know, the big, strong carnivore that can protect you. So I feel like that's almost the downfall of their relationship right here in this scene, is the fact that he's, like, forgetting all the considerations that maybe made Haru like him more in the first place. I don't know. It's really strange. It's a strange thing to wrap my head around, and I'm interested to see where it goes, but I was kind of, like, I was a little bit like that guy that I saw on Reddit that was like, oh my god, like, the relationship's regressing, it's like season 1 never happened. But I actually think it's because season 1 happened that Legoshi is regressing in a way that Haru may not like. But at the same time, it seems like she wants to chase after him, and that this is a decision that he kind of made for himself for some reason. Like, you know what I mean? It seemed like that she was, like, all for it, all for something anyway, and then, like, it was his hesitation that kind of caused, like, a crumbling, if that makes sense. But maybe he realized, like, oh yeah, I do see Haru this way, but because I see it, basically, this was the process, right? Legoshi treated Haru kind of as, I think what the Eagle guy was saying, like, hope or faith, like a physical manifestation of his philosophy towards the herbivores. But then because Legoshi had to become the protector, it skewed their position so he sees himself as the strong carnivore who has to protect her, right? And then he also says, but I do see her, like, as, you know, a man, like, may see a woman, right? Like, he says that, I think. And so I think that going off that, what we're getting at here is, like, I do see her this way, actually, but it's because of that I can't be with her, because she still has feelings for Rui, and I'm not about that, you know what I mean? Is that if I see her genuinely, right, as, like, a romantic partner, right, like, as, like, a woman, I guess, I can't be with a woman who has feelings, like, for another man, basically. Whereas maybe that wasn't that much of an issue before, because, like, I mean, it was, though. He was pretty mad when he saw that it was Rui, like, with Haru, and that she was the one, like, he was the one that she loved and everything, but I don't know. Like, I feel like that we're on the cusp, but I don't quite get it, and they'll probably explain it more next episode. And so obviously, this was, like, beautiful, romantic, stunning, almost going in for the kiss, but then I think what happens is that it's almost like Legoshi forgot himself for a second, and maybe he, like, sees his own palm, like, he sees the palm of his own hand, almost, like, compared to, like, her ear, and it reminds them of, like, their differences or something. Like, I feel like that's almost what happened, because they're about to, like, kiss or something, but then he says, do you still have feelings for Rui, right? And so I feel like that palm and ear shot is maybe is important, because it could just be, like, for the sexual tension of it, but I also wonder if he saw his hand and then remembered, like, oh yeah, I'm still a carnivore, and, you know, Haru's still in love with, like, a herbivore, still in love with Rui, right? And so then she takes her hand away. Why are you asking me that now? It's like, bro, we were just about to kiss. Why would you ask me that? And then, I love in this shot, you actually see the fountain in the background where the incident happened, right? And so he says, it's strange, my heart is very quiet right now. And it's almost like it broke his heart to know that. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like before he could have been more of what Haru wanted if he had kept and continued acting like a herbivore in personality. Like, if he continued acting like a carnivore that didn't know his own strength, maybe he could be with Haru, right? But now, with this way, he can't be with Haru, because he is, you know, becoming stronger in his own, and is acknowledging his strength, and it's for that specific reason why he can now, like, not be with her, you know what I mean? And so I think that that's, like, a pretty interesting thing to think about, because I think that Rui being a herbivore was definitely, like, not a coincidence. I mean, it would kind of be weird if she was with, like, another carnivore, you know what I mean? But I think that, like, it's supposed to be some sort of intentional foiling. It's like, you know, I'm just a guy, and the type of guy that, like, my, you know, love interest or my romantic interest likes are the kind of pretty boy herbivores, right? That, like, you know, and stuff like that. And so maybe that's the idea, and so that Legoshi's not like that, and so as long as she still likes Rui, he cannot be who Haru wants, because he is no longer like Rui at all. But see, that's the interesting thing, though, because I feel like that Legoshi is more like Rui than he ever has been, because he's standing into the spotlight. But I guess, like, in terms of, like, strength, he is acting, like, unlike himself compared to previous seasons. It's like the incident where Haru got kidnapped unlocked something in Legoshi that cannot be put back in the box. That's almost how I see it. And so now, like, they can't be together unless she almost acknowledges and, like, commits to, like, what has come out of the box. And I feel like that will be if Haru finds her own courage. Because I think that the whole idea is, like, Haru cannot be with Legoshi because she is not courageous enough, right, to be, like, with him, basically. That was the whole bullying thing, and that's why they have to meet up in secret, right? And so she could have been fine with somebody who kind of, like, hides away, like, parts of themselves, like Rui. Like, Rui is basically, he puts on a front with the public, but then Rui is himself with Haru. Haru could be with somebody like that doesn't see her as, like, you know, somebody, you know, to protect or something like that. It's actually ironic, because Haru is the one protecting Rui in that instance, like, protecting his secret, right? So I think that's why their dynamic had worked. But now, like, with Legoshi, it's like it's open Pandora's box, and it's like, but okay, like, I'm not the kind of, like, timid guy that you first met anymore. I am somebody that is going to live in the light, and so you have to come with me, or else we can't be together. And that's what Haru will not do. She would rather kind of, like, stay in the dark, I guess, right? And, like, she would stay in the dark, theoretically, like, with Rui, because Rui is now also in that dark, like, he never left that darkness. He just got more into the darkness. Whereas Legoshi, has, like, reversed his role, I guess, is something that you could say. Yeah, it's very complicated. I'm not entirely sure if I understand. And so your expression now is just enough, right? And so, like, that told him, like, if the answer wasn't no, right? Like, if you didn't say no, all you said was what? Like, you know what I mean? It would be like, oh, Cal, do you, like, you know, like so-and-so? And I'd be like, no, of course not. Like, I have a boyfriend, right? But if your first inclination is to say, what? Why are you asking me that? That's not exactly instilling anyone with confidence, right? I am not hoping you'll be my girl. And I think in English, he actually says something slightly different. He says, you know, like, after everything, I wasn't expecting you to be my girlfriend. Like, he says something like that. I'm just happy to see you alive. That's what I realized. And so then he walks down the stairs. And so then maybe he's realizing that his feelings for Haru, maybe he thinks that they weren't real. Maybe he thinks that it was just his inner desire to protect herbivores, and that's what he cares about. It's just like, oh, well, you don't need to be my girl. I just realized I'm just happy you're alive, because you being alive is a physical manifestation of me using my carnivore, my demonic body, to save a herbivore. Like, maybe that's it. So maybe he's even doubting his own feelings and whether or not he genuinely loves her. He thought that he loved her, but really she was just kind of like, you know, someone to save and protect, almost. And so that's why he doesn't need her to be his girlfriend, because he never liked her romantically to begin with, question mark. I don't know if that's entirely correct. I think that that's, like, Legoshi's almost lying to himself if he thinks that what it is, but I think that's Legoshi's thought process. Let me rephrase. I think that Legoshi is genuinely in love with her, but he's just, like, confused. Like, he's just a bag of confusion right now. I think the thing that the Eagle guy said at the drama club really confused him, and so now he's like, oh, maybe I don't love you. Like, maybe I just loved, like, the idea of protecting a herbivore. Like, maybe you're just another herbivore to me. I feel like he's just confused, because he even says my heart is quiet right now. At first you could say, like, oh, that's because I was heartbroken, but what if it's because he leaned in to kiss her and he didn't feel that adrenaline anymore? He didn't feel his heart racing, and that's when he realized that he didn't actually care romantically, because he's like, oh yeah, well, you know, the drama club guy, that's silly. Of course I like Haru. I like Haru like a man would like a woman, right? But maybe him not feeling anything in his heart, you know, as he was about to kiss her, like, made him realize that he doesn't feel anything anymore, question mark. I don't know. There's just weird stuff going on. And she actually calls after him, and she's like, Legoshi, what the fuck? My love is a prayer for you. My heart will always be with the herbivores. See, and so that goes back to the faith thing. It's like almost a religion, a mindset, or a moral life philosophy, is that, like, my heart will always be with the herbivores, but that's why my heart was with you, because he does say his love is a prayer for her, and so that's interesting, because that would imply that he still loves her, but, like, the idea that his love is a prayer versus a feeling, like, you know what I mean, that his love maybe was just a prayer for the herbivores. That's exactly how Oba put it. So that's the Eagle guy, right? So I'm like, do you love her? Do you not? I don't know. I think that my interpretation now kind of made more sense. Like, the fact that he was like, oh, I'll prove it. I'll prove that I love Haru like a man likes a woman, you know? And then he was like, oh, I don't feel anything, bro. That's when he realized, right? I think that this is the right path for this love, right? And I think that's gonna change the right path as a carnivore, because now, again, he's acknowledged the fact that he's a carnivore in order to embrace his strength, and that's, like, hindering the relationship. So yeah, I feel like that it's not gonna stay this way, but I do definitely get the mindset. And so now we see somebody who is wearing the school uniform coming up behind Legoshi, and we can't exactly tell who it is, but we do see a very, like, claw-like hand, and so I feel like that given the people that are in the drama club, really, that kind of means that it's either Bill or it is the bear. And so I guess explanation one is that it's the bear because the bear is the murderer. Thank you, I'll be here all night. Yeah, and then explanation 2 is that it's Bill, but it's a red herring. You're supposed to think it's the murderer, but it's not. It's Bill, and Bill is gonna tell us some useful information about, like, you know, who the murderer might be and everything. He's just snuck up behind Legoshi, and it's a fake out. That's my theory about it. And so, yeah, I hope that y'all enjoyed my little review. I feel kind of a little scatterbrained today, but I hope that everything makes sense. I just feel that way because, like, this episode was so confusing, right? And there's nobody that I can talk to about it because none of my friends are caught up or watching the show or anything. So I hope that you guys will talk to me at least, and then maybe I'll see your comments at least, probably not before I get to episode 6, given how much I'm gonna pre-record, but I'll see your comments, like, in hindsight, and then I won't be too far ahead. I'm planning to watch maybe 3 episodes this weekend as I'm recording this, and you guys will see this probably on Saturday, which means by the time you guys leave me your comments, I'll be about, like, halfway through, or at least 2 more episodes ahead. And remember that if you want to see those, of course, and, like, be caught up with my actual, like, viewing experience, like the actual pace that I'm watching, those are up on Patreon and everything, because this is like a very far behind pace, if that makes sense, right? Like, as I'm recording this, as you are seeing this on YouTube, I'm already, like, you know, I'm continuing on. And so if you want to be there for, like, my kind of live experience, I would suggest seeing my reactions on Patreon. And then you could also comment on my reactions on Patreon, too. And if you know what episode I'm at and what I'm confused about, because I did express confusion in my initial reaction as well, y'all can always help me understand what's going on that way before I make the review. So, yeah, Patreon, YouTube membership member, stuff, all of that sort of thing. And so I hope that you guys enjoyed today's visit to Calxiyn's royal court, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!